Greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well this evening. Tonight I've got two terrifying tales, a Dogman and a possible Sasquatch encounter. Now, I think the second story is definitely a Dogman, but I'm not the person that it happened to. You guys be the judge. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Before we get into these encounters, a couple of links I'd like to share with you. As you know, I'm commercial free and intend on staying like that, so my Patreon, PayPal, and merch links are all in the description below. Now, that helps this channel grow and helps it keep going. Also, my second channel link is in the description. Now, that's dedicated to creepypastas, fan fiction, and just all-around scary voice acting. So, if that's anything that you guys are into, go give that a listen. I'm pretty sure you might like it. And with that, guys, let's get on with the encounter, shall we? Encounter 1. I was on my way back from visiting my father in Houston, and I had stayed pretty late. It usually takes me about an hour and 45 minutes to drive home because I live to the north of Houston off of 169 in Cold Spring, Texas. I was about 25 minutes from home. I had just made the turn onto Road 222 that takes you past Lake Livingston Dam. It was around 10 p.m. and this long stretch of road is covered on all sides of woods with an occasional ranch house or a farm. There are no lights but one passing through there. I had just passed through the light and now am in total darkness with my only source of light being my headlights. I saw something up ahead and slowed down. It was a furry creature on all fours crossing the road. I'll never forget the way I felt. The hair on my arms are standing up and I get goosebumps just remembering. It looked like the boy from the Jungle Book crossing the road with the hind part of its body higher than the front. It stopped just on the other side of my truck, passing a few feet in front of it. It was a dark gray and black, and it didn't seem to have a face, or maybe there was just too much hair. It was also too big to be a dog or any other kind of animal. I still don't know what it was. All I know is that I drove off, speeding away and looking in my rear view, hoping the thing wasn't following me home. I locked up and stayed close to my rifle that night, and to this day, driving through on that stretch of road, I hope I never see that creature again. Our second encounter of the evening. I have an encounter of sorts that I'd like to share, and it happened in the summer of '95 in Edcouch, Texas. I was 15 years old at the time. I'm 37 and remember it like it was yesterday. Well, this one night I had a buddy of mine come over and we wanted to rent some video games and movies, so I asked my mom if I could borrow the car and head out. She said no, and I had a fit, blew a gasket, teenage style. I stormed out of the house and walked down the street to cool down. I didn't even bother telling my friend either, I just left. I walked down to the end of the street where the street lamps don't shine. I took a seat right at the middle of the road and put my head down. At that time, my old neighborhood was right next to a cornfield, and the rest of the lots were filled with overgrown, dry, tall grass and abundance of mesquite trees. We also had an old meat market that closed down some years ago and now was just an empty, vandalized building. The meat market was located on the opposite side of the block, and therefore my street was on the back side of the property. So I parked myself down and just breathed. I had gone back there in the dark because that's where me and my friends frequently used to smoke weed and cigarettes, so I knew the property. Anyway, as I sat there, I remember looking up at the sky and noticed how bright the moon was. How the breeze was pushing the trees from side to side. Suddenly, I heard a rustling sound behind me and turned back, and there was a big opossum scurrying away from me. I sighed in relief and turned back around. I rested my head back down, and that's when I heard it. An extremely loud, deep roar. I picked my head up and just froze. I didn't move. All I did was scan the empty dark lot in front of me. All I saw was darkness. I also remember feeling the bass of the roar. I could feel it in my chest. If I could compare it to anything, it sounded like a lion in the movie or something. I told myself to get up and run. I just couldn't. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, I told myself to run, and run I did. I don't think I ever ran faster than that. I got home and my mom, sister, and friend were outside on the front porch waiting on me. They asked me what was wrong. I guess I looked a little too scared and told them what I heard. I remember that feeling of a cold sweat and my gut was in knots. At that time, I believed it to be the devil, maybe coming for me for being such a little asshole to my mom. Now, I don't. I really think it was a Sasquatch. We don't have big game in this part of Texas like bear, but we do have boar, deer, bobcat, ocelot, and of course opossums. But nothing that could have made that sound. And I say it was a Sasquatch because years later, right after college, I found myself working at a home health care office. I met a dude there that later became a good friend. One day, my coworkers and I were sharing horror stories, so I brought up my roar story. After I retired to my office, my buddy dropped by for a visit. He told me he had a story to share as well, which was odd because he didn't share it with the rest of the group minutes earlier. As it turned out, he just so happened to have a similar encounter, but his was way creepier because he saw the damn thing. According to my buddy, this happened in 2008 or 2009. He and a friend were crossing the Mexican border into the States. That one friend was sneaking in one of his other cousins to help him find a job or some shit. These guys decided to cross a little after midnight. Well, they waited in the tall grass to swim over. He said he heard a loud splash hit the water. When they looked in the direction of the splash, he said all they saw was a dense white fog rolling down the water. He said it looked like a living thing. He also mentioned that when the fog rolled upon them, they started to feel sleepy. The group began to move towards the water and used the fog as cover, and that's when they heard something or someone swimming in the river. He said they thought it might be illegals or cartel members up to no good. He said they laid there, and this dark, heavy gorilla man, his words not mine, swam right in front of them. Doing the breaststroke, the water hit the creature right in the chest. That's important because his friend later told him that in that part of the river it's about 6 to 7 feet deep. The creature looked directly at them and didn't stop. My buddy made it over just fine, and after that he never returned to that site. I honestly think that the Sasquatch are visiting this part of Texas, using our irrigation canals and ditches as routes to come in and out of the region. The canals are big and deep and run for miles. I've been hunting in some of these places, and one could easily disappear out there. Bonus doppelganger Fleshgate encounter. About 2 years ago, I was playing hide and seek with about 5 other friends. I was it, and everyone ran and hid. I walked around my house and glanced towards a large electrical box on the outskirts of my yard. This was a popular place to hide, and I expected someone to hide there. When I looked over, I saw my friend jump up and duck back down. His arms were limp and went up and down as my friend did so. He was the exact same size and shape as my friend and wearing the same clothes. I ran and checked behind the box, and he wasn't there. There were no places to run, and I would definitely see him if he moved. I kind of got freaked out and stopped playing hide and seek. Today I learned about Fleshgates and doppelgangers and just thought I'd share my encounter. Alright guys, 3 quick little snippets for you. Like I said, I'm working on something really good for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed these. Once again, thanks. 2,000 subscribers coming up. Hopefully we'll hit it tomorrow. You guys are the blood that runs through the veins of my microphone. So without you, I couldn't do this. Thanks for helping my dreams come true. Have a good night, guys.